Hey guys, this is David Arroyo, and I am now back for the third and final part of the making of test page 3 for my webcomic called Immersion. Right, so in this part I'm going to be discussing the conclusions and my general thoughts about the approaching of the making of this comic, basically, of what my findings are so far, and maybe I can share some stuff that might be valuable or useful to someone out there that's trying to do the same thing. Right, so far I've been working on finding a style for the webcomic of Immersion, which is a sci-fi detective thriller type of story. It's been a few months now that I've been trying to refine the style and stuff like that, and from the beginning I pretty much had a more or less of an idea, but the finer details, like the way to ink and the way to color in particular, because I'm not, I'm just going to be honest here, coloring is one of these things, especially for comics, where I had zero experience. I mean, I've done colored works, of course, in the past, but there's one thing that is coloring for comics, another is coloring for something that you're going to display on your screen. You have to keep in mind when coloring for comics, for example, a simple tip is just checking your K values, and by K values I mean the amount of black, from CMYK, K stands for black, the amount of black that you're gonna output in your work. If it's too much and you print it out, it'll end up looking muddy on the page. So these are just tiny little tips and tricks that I've picked up from all sorts of sources, and it really pays off to do your research before you just dive in and say, oh, you know what, I'm just gonna make a webcomic or a comic, and it's just all going to work out. The truth is that it doesn't always just work like that. As a matter of fact, it rarely ever does, unless you're an expert at it, then fine. But if you're someone like me that has been drawing for a while but has never really professionally tackled a comic book, then this is the type of stuff that you'll definitely encounter. And it's an interesting journey. I've learned so much in the past few months, and I'm very happy that I'm doing these test pages, which reminds me, this is actually not going to be the very last one for Immersion. There's another one coming up, which will be in a different piece of software, and I'll talk more about this soon, but it won't be in Procreate. It will be in Clip Studio Paint, which used to be Manga Studio 5. I am not the type of guy that likes to just proclaim one piece of software to be the best in the world, because there is no piece of software. There's always parts of one software that works better than the other, and Clip Studio Paint, after I've been playing around with it for a bit, it is really good as well. So that's something that I will be exploring next, and it's something that we'll cover soon enough. But first I'll just quickly get back to this here, to this particular test page and the third strip that I'm working on right now. So what have I learned so far? Well, first of all, I've learned to really respect the work of comic book artists, because it doesn't matter what style they're using. Sometimes you look at a comic book and you're like, wait a minute, that's drawn quite basically. Why didn't he or she add an additional shadow layer or a lighting layer, or why did everything has a reason. And it doesn't matter the drawing style. I've learned that some people, they can draw perfectly well, but they've chosen to draw it in a different way than for example you might like. There are many examples of this. Not everyone, for example, has to draw the Marvel way or the DC way. It looks great, but there are other people, like for example the epic comic book Mouse, which is really absolutely amazing. It's not drawn like Marvel, but it's one of the best comic books out there. So definitely something to keep in mind. And another thing is that, comics just don't happen overnight. It's a long process, and if you want to do it good, if you want to get some really cool results, especially based on the style that I'm trying to go for, there's a steep learning curve. You just end up picking up all sorts of stuff, and this takes time, but it pays off. It really does, and that's what I'm learning. That's what I'm seeing. With every test page, with every panel, with every work that I do that I'm dedicated to immersion, things just keep getting better and better, and I keep discovering new things. And am I reaching the quality that I want for immersion, that I have in my head? Not yet, but I'm getting very close, and I think that's important. I've learned that it's a lot about persistence, and if I can give anyone a piece of advice, or at least share some from what I've experienced, it's that. It's just keep going. Doesn't matter how tough it looks. There are solutions, and you just gotta keep going. You will find the answers that you're looking for. So there you go. You've just seen the final comic strip, and now it's been added to a finished page. I've changed the background of white to black because I thought it went well with the overall feeling of it being at night. So there you have it. Test page 3 for my immersion webcomic. I hope you guys like it, and thank you for stopping by. I will be seeing you guys soon again. Take care, guys.